Hello, friends. Welcome to the Black Hat Show. I'm your host, the guy with the black hat. Now, today I am doing a review of Detroit Become Human. I only do reviews of games that I complete, to be fair, and there's not many that I complete. Recently, the only other game I've completed, realistically, in the last year is God of War. Another PlayStation exclusive game. Might be saying something there. I don't know. I try to be bipartisan, but it's kind of hard to be equal when PlayStation's pumping out great games and the Xbox isn't. But that's neither here nor there. This is a review of Detroit Become Human, PlayStation 4 exclusive, and a game by Quantum Dream, who's done other games like Heavy Rain and a couple other really amazing titles. So, of course, going into playing the game, I expected a certain level of quality. And I can say now, without going into the specific things I look for in a good game, I can tell you now that this game achieves everything. And I mean, there wasn't a lot of hype for it, at least not the level of some games like God of War and other games coming out. Not a lot of hype, but this game didn't need it. It came through with flying colors and just wowed me to the point where there were many times during my playthrough, and I recorded the stream of my playthrough. It's on YouTube, so if you want to check that out, you can do so. Many times where my mouth just drops because of the drama and the scale of events that occur, from the smallest insignificant choices that lead up to these huge wow moments. And there aren't a lot of games out there other than Heavy Rain and other games by Quantum Dream that have those wow moments where you're just thrown for a loop. Heavy Rain was one of those games. If you've ever beaten that game completely, that's a rough game. Anyway, so Detroit Become Human. I have my specific traits for a game that, for me, I look for that define a great game. So we'll go with what, to me, is the most important thing in a game: story. This is a story. I mean, this is beyond a story. This is an epic telling of drama, of confusion, of identity, of character building to an extreme level, to the point where you get connected to these characters, and based off each person's playthrough, you get connected and attached in your own unique way. So when it comes to story and the flow, there is a constant flow. Scenes or missions or chapters, I guess the best way to say it, are chapters, they flow with good momentum. There's not a lot of lag. It just, you get from point A to point B with a little bit of 1.5 thrown in there, but other than that, you're taken straight through the game pretty quickly, and it's done well. The flow is perfect, and the flow is so well and is so effective because of the characters, which is the second point to the story arc of the game. Character development is so fundamental, and this game just destroys it. The first mission, you really get a sense of Connor and his rigidity. I mean, he's an android, and it's so perfect, like a perfectly tuned watch. just mechanical in everything he does. And you take a journey with him through the entire story, and you can just see it, how it affects the little things he does. Even a couple missions into the game, they're just slight inflections that he didn't have in that first mission. Depending on how you complete that first mission, of course. Now, my playthrough, so I'm referring to my playthrough, which is different than others, or at least the majority of others. My first playthrough, he without any script, he jumped to his death to save the girl, and the girl survives, but the suspect and Connor fall to their death. That was the first thing in the game that I went through, first emotional experience that just left me knowing that this game was going to be amazing. So, my next thing, and then my next point, and what I look for in a great game are the characters. So you have 3 phenomenal protagonists, and if you play a certain way, antagonists. It's a gray area. It's all about point of view. The characters, Connor, Kara, or Kara, how you want to say it, and Marcus, all identifiable with different people. Different reasons why you would identify with one of the characters, if not all 3. They each have something that makes them just, you can relate to their characters. I relate more with Connor. I like Connor. I like his formal regality, which I think is interesting. Every time he came back on screen, I was like, cool, Connor's back. But that's not to take away from the other 2 characters who are absolutely amazing and drive the heart of the story. They're really the reason why I continued playing, though I enjoyed seeing Connor. The other 2 characters had all the heart and soul, obviously, because they're the quote-unquote deviants, the androids that have gained emotion and sense of self. So, obviously, they have more invested emotionally. So, when it comes to characters, they're complex, they're so real, and besides Connor, the other 2 main characters are incredibly emotional, which is what defines them. And next up, my points of a great game are the environments. Now, each environment that in Detroit Becomes Human is incredibly rich and detailed and alive. So alive that, what you do in those environments will continually affect later choices. One of the first areas that really you have an effect in is, I guess, maybe like the 5th mission chapter in, where you have progressed. I don't want to spoil anything, but suffice it to say, the environment you are in, you have to make specific choices to survive, and those choices have such long reaches through the story arc that you still feel the effects at the end of the game. Just the environment alone having that kind of pull is insane. So I'll show you some of that, how the environments and the characters really, they're just amazing. So here you go. We got Connor, and this is one of those scenes that it's about, I think it's chapter 6, chapter 7. And when I first played it, I was still playing Connor as like this rigid character, and so I was trying to stay neutral, but because of the way Connor's character is progressing, through my playthrough, neutral wasn't an option. And I made a terrible mistake in having to go to extremes. So my consequence is that Connor sadly meets his demise for the second time in my playthrough here. Now, I don't have that recorded. This is, what I have recording here are the two extremes you can go. So in the first demonstration is him being very fair and positive and easy on the suspect, the android. And the second demonstration is the complete opposite. He has no tact at all. He just attacks the suspect, and the effects are vastly and drastically different. Now, I won't play the entire demonstration. I'll play in the background so you guys can see what I mean. So you have the characters and you have the environments and how they interact. Here, this one environment is so simple, yet it really is powerful. I don't know what it is about this interrogation room, but it's pretty intense. So the next thing on my quality of a good game, sound, obviously, and when it comes to scene drama. And so, the little details, the things that music, the ambient sounds that progress through it are all very intense, and they ramp up as the scene progresses. It's very nice and very well done. I enjoyed it thoroughly, all the way from beginning to end. The sound in this game is amazing, whether it be the music, whether it be the subtle sound effects of rain, just so many different things that make this game just sound-wise unattainable by anyone else. I don't know any other game producer that's ever going to reach this level this game gets. Of course, it'll probably happen, but as of right now, this game has got it all. Alright, so obviously our next most important feature of any game is its gameplay. Alright, so this is one of those things where I understand what this game is. Quantum Dream has a very specific control scheme. In fact, it's the defining attribute of the game. It's been like that for all their games, from what I can remember. Heavy Rain was the one that really heavily emphasized on the DualShock, the 6-axis control. And in Heavy Rain, you had a lot more you had to do with the controller. Luckily, they've not made it easier, but they have taken away that some of the what they wanted you to do in Heavy Rain was difficult if you were in a confined space. So with this game, they give you the touchpad instead, which allows you to be in a nice, smooth, you don't have to worry about jerking around. It's really a smooth way of changing up, using an important feature, like the 6-axis was when Heavy Rain came out. So that's why they obviously it was part of the game. They wanted to use it, and it hadn't been used a lot. So Detroit Become Human, they used the touchpad really well. And so the gameplay is based around button prompts, QuickTime events, and if you were to falter, if you are to question yourself, even for more than a second, it can have horrible consequences. It's all about how you would react in real time, in real life. Unlike a lot of QuickTime events that I've played in other games, where there's just game over, it's done, you failed, you died instantly, whatever. This one, the consequences can be seen and are felt further down your path if you mess up or falter. So it's much more real. So the gameplay, the gameplay is amazing, but you have to understand the gameplay, the whole point of it. They took the story and they based it around the game controls. You can tell that's the whole point. The androids, the way they move and they control, is almost like it was meant for the control scheme. They're robotic, because that's what they are. I mean, it just works. It feels good. I felt like it was a natural way to play the game, though I'm sure a lot of people will dislike the control scheme greatly. That's a mistake. The control scheme is perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. So when it comes to gameplay, that's a no-brainer. It's amazing. Okay. So one of my last little dots, my little checks for a good game is what I like to call "is it necessary" category. And those have 3 main points: the use of language, violence, and content, sexual content. So language use in this game is pretty human. It occurs when it's necessary. There are points where Hank tells Connor to go to hell, essentially. And it was warranted. It felt natural. I felt like the character would use that word. And so there's things like that. Language use is acceptable. It's not some repetitive, over-the-top drama. It's just right. And the use of violence as well, it is done when necessary and in a way that isn't gory or is not overdone. It's perfect. The perfect amounts. So the use of guns or hand-to-hand combat have, a nice, decent way of being displayed to the audience. There's blood when someone gets shot. That's fine. That's fair. It's understandable. It's a natural effect of a gunshot. And it's not overdone. It's perfect. It's nice. So the use of violence is acceptable, and there only are a few times where there are some scenes that is just, you grit your teeth, but it's there because it's designed to push the story along and give you motivation to make a decision based off how it affects you emotionally. And it's understandable. It's a good trigger. And those scenes and luckily you have every right and are able to stop and prevent scenes from occurring, which is what is, it's makes everything okay. It's I can deal with it. So the last point is the content, unnecessary content. There isn't any. And I was very glad about that. Just like in Heavy Rain, there's nothing. It's just this. They are Quantum Dream just created a decent, wholesome game with an incredible story, and they drive that all the way home without any issue. So amazing game. All right, and my last point, in-game support. I didn't really. This is something I have. Is a feature in games like God of War or games that have like a purpose at the end of the game, like open world games. Obviously, Detroit Become Human is not that kind of game. What they do allow you to do, and I do enjoy, is, and I've already played with this a little bit. It's how I recorded these demonstrations of the extreme ways you can play the game. They allow you to select the chapters, and just like in Heavy Rain, you can select the chapter in your timeline based off like a playthrough you just completed, and you can select the timeline, a chapter in the timeline, and then if you so choose, you can kind of pinpoint where you went wrong and try to redirect the storyline. If you so choose, like you can actually kind of like restart where you want in the story and then keep going all over again. Or you can just do like a don't save. Hey, thanks for the follow. You can have a don't save, and you can just play the chapter out nice and smooth, and it it works out perfectly fine. It's a nice effect. I like that. I replayed this one here twice, and I played the first chapter again twice, just to see the different ways. And knowing it would have no effect on my current timeline is nice, very nice. So they have in-game support within the boundaries of this game, and it makes sense. The in-game support is perfect. It's not too much, and it's just enough to make you give you the option to replay things if you want to investigate or nitpick or whatever. So really, when it comes down to it, the game just my nose just delivers across the board with everything: story, characters, the environments, the sounds, the gameplay, and the in-game support. It's all just very well delivered. Detroit Become Human, I mean, it is, I think, and I hate to say it, but I think this is probably going to be Game of the Year. I mean, just like Heavy Rain, if you game for story and for impact and for an exploration of deeper meanings and ideals, this game does that. Of course, there's games like God of War, which, of course, I beat that game. We did a review on that as well, and also felt very positive about the story and all the attributes I look for. But they don't compare when I put them up together. They don't. They are two different kinds of games, but this is the kind of game I play. So I give this a very high rating. However you want to rate it, I give it 5 black hats out of 5. I think it's amazing. If you have a PlayStation, you need to play this game. And if you don't have an option to play it, watch me stream it, or watch anybody stream it. Watch someone stream it, like actually watch it. I'm sure it's far more entertaining to see the reactions in live time. I'd go for a cam if you could, because I'm sure it'd be far more engaging to see someone react. And I was affected by it many times. There was a couple times I was like, oh, not gonna do this. I'm not gonna cry, and I didn't. I don't think so anyway. Fantastic game, guys. You should play it if you can. If you can't, watch me stream it, please. Just kidding. Anyway, so guys, this is gonna wrap up my review. Ooh, my voice broke. It's gonna wrap up my review of Detroit Become Human. I give it 5 hats out of 5. I don't have a little icon up there, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I've been your host, the guy with the black hat, and I will see you guys next time.